I think Andrew McCabe has made a fool out of himself over the last couple of days, and he really looks to me like sort of a poor man's J. Edgar Hoover. I think he's a disaster.
That was the president weighing in on Andrew McCabe's recent book tour. Americans put a lot of trust in the FBI. They have no choice. It's our top law enforcement agency. FBI officials are supposed to be adults, supposed to be immune to hysteria and fads, and above all, immune to political pressure. But the last couple of years have shaken the public's faith that any of that is true. Jim Comey grandstanded for attention. Sometimes he helped Hillary Clinton, other times he hurt Hillary Clinton, but it was always all about him. Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, we know, swapped hysterical texts that were also dumb. And when it comes to Russia, Andy McCabe sounds worse than any CNN anchor. Here's one selection.
I don't know that we have ever seen in all of history an example of the volume and the significance of the contacts between people in and around the president and his campaign with our most serious, our existential international enemy, the government of Russia.
Quick, define existential. I bet you can't. Of course you can't. McCabe also recently said that he wouldn't be surprised if the president were taking orders from Russia.
Do you still believe the president could be a Russian asset?
I think it's possible. I think that's why we started our investigation, and I'm really anxious to see where Director Mueller concludes that.
Well, there's no evidence of that, but you don't need it. He has a feeling, and hopefully we'll get some facts. New reports today indicate the release of Robert Mueller's final report could be imminent. Who knows? Eli Lake has been covering this stuff for a long time. He's a Bloomberg opinion columnist now, and he joins us today. So, Eli, to me, speaking as a citizen, it's not really about Trump or the Democratic Congress. It's about whether you can trust your most powerful institution domestically, which is the FBI. And if the former deputy director is saying with a straight face, no, he could be a Russian agent on the basis of really no evidence, that seems so reckless and scary to me.
It's harder to justify that, especially 2 years into the administration.
Yes.
President Trump has appointed Russia hawks at the highest levels of the government.
Noticed.
He has, in a lot of cases, not every single one, countered Russian interests directly. The most recent example being Venezuela, selling lethal arms to Ukraine. So there's been no quo to the quid. And the quid has yet to be established after more than 2 years of an investigation from the FBI, which is to say the initial theory was that there was a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia to distribute, steal the emails from the DNC and John Podesta, and that there was coordination in some ways with the Trump campaign to help Russia influence the election. Well, I think most people believe that the Russians certainly tried to influence the election, but the other part of that, which is that coordination, not only hasn't been proven, according to the indictment of Roger Stone, they didn't know what were in the emails. That Roger Stone was trying to figure it out from WikiLeaks. And the Trump campaign had asked Roger Stone to find out what was in the emails if they were coordinating. Don't you think that why would they have to go to Julian Assange?
So if you really wanted to help Russia, you'd want to spike natural gas prices because that's the Russian economy. And the fastest way to do that would be to take the richest natural gas fields in the world offline with the Green New Deal. So I don't really understand. So the very people who are saying that the United States should stop the production of fossil fuels are claiming that Trump, who promotes the production of fossil fuels, is somehow on Russia's side. Like, it seems insane to me.
Well, Russia, in fairness, Trump gets into trouble sometimes. I think in 2016, when he said, Russia, if you're listening, you should leak the Hillary emails and things like that. And there are moments where the Helsinki summit from last summer is another example where he will say things that I think most people, including myself, would sort of scratch their heads like, where is this coming from? Why is he being so deferential to Putin? But what we haven't seen is any kind of follow through in terms of the policy, nor
the bedrock interests.
Yeah, right. Nor have we seen the evidence that there was in all of these meetings that have come out and things that he's talking about and all these contacts. Well, we have yet to see anything coming close to that initial claim.
So it just seems like, look, if you're Ralph Peters or some kind of, hysterical person on TV making historical claims, that's fine. But if you're the deputy director of the FBI, or just have been, or the director of the FBI, and you command a massive domestic army that's heavily armed and can crush and kill people, then you have an obligation not to be reckless in the things you say in cable news, right?
Right. This was the first few months into the administration. I think the FBI really was freaking out. What's less understandable to me, and I think is completely baffling, is Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Because according to McCabe, Rosenstein was frantically meeting with him and other senior leaders of the FBI, proposing maybe the invocation of the 25th Amendment, wearing a wire, doing all these, and ultimately leading to the appointment of Robert Mueller as a special counsel. But it was Rod Rosenstein who originally helped basically come up with a memo justifying the firing of Comey. So how is he on both sides of that issue?
No,
and it's like, the argument that I get from reading between the lines, and I've read a bit of the book now from McCabe, is that there would be no investigation. They wouldn't have launched this investigation.
Yep.
We wouldn't have gotten Mueller if only Trump had stuck to the initial cover story that that obscured his real reasons for firing Comey. If only he said it was all about Hillary Clinton, then we wouldn't have, according to McCabe, and that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, and I'm even more confused, but grateful that you tried to explain their reasoning. Ilya Lake, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.